Number 11, The Last Jedi. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. This movie is a shit-ass piece of fuck. Ruin Johnson and Kathleen Skeletor fucked up my childhood. The bomber ships at the beginning are stupid. The weaponized hyperspace is stupid. The choreography of the throne room scene is stupid. And the movie overall just feels like a big gag. I do love seeing that green titty milk, though. I'm done talking about it. That is so 2017. Number 10, Solo. Nobody asked for this movie. Nobody liked this movie. And I think it's possibly the most boring movie in the entire franchise. Also, you can tell that they did what Marvel is doing now, where they're trying to allude to future stuff without actually having a plan for it. The scene with Darth Maul does absolutely nothing. And why did he pull out his lightsaber during a FaceTime? Oh God. Number 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I need to take a walk for this one. This is why you should keep the same director if you're going to make a trilogy. You cannot just retcon the whole previous movie, regardless of how shitty it is, and tell me that Rey is a Skywalker despite actually being a Palpatine, and Palpatine is still alive. It would have been so much more interesting if she would have actually been on the dark side in that movie. If she would have actually given into that vision she saw or whatever. If Kylo and Rey had switched sides, that's what I was hoping for. I thought actually something interesting would happen, but no. This whole requel trilogy that is just nostalgia bait for boomers, surprise, surprise, did nothing interesting at all. I will say I had a lot more fun watching The Rise of Skywalker than The Last Jedi. JJ, I'm so sorry that mommy let someone else direct your middle movie, but that's also not my fault. It's a bad movie because of it. Number 8. Rogue One. From here on, I think the rest of these are good movies, but I think most of Rogue One is a tad boring, and I don't love the fact that there's 2 entire movies now that aren't actually part of the numerical series, because again, no one asked for this either. It was just executed a lot better than Solo. But that being said, the Darth Vader scene at the end is one of the best pieces of Star Wars content that has ever been dropped. Since Disney acquired Star Wars, that one scene is such an anomaly. And overall, it's a pretty good movie. Number 7. A New Hope. I'm gonna say something that really shows my age and might be controversial. I don't think movies were great until A New Hope, or back then simply known as Star Wars. 1977 was a very pivotal year for cinema. I'm not saying in any way that there weren't really compelling stories told on the silver screen with really well-written dialogue, worthy of it becoming a cult classic. But are you really gonna tell me that Casablanca is actually a better movie than Forrest Gump? What I'm mainly saying is we've crossed a threshold with production value, and the lack of technology and just filmmaking experience back in the day means that objectively films are just better than they used to be, at least before a certain point in time. Whether or not they've started to go back the other direction recently is a different discussion entirely. Where am I going with this? What I'm saying is A New Hope or Star Wars is a very good movie, and it set the standard for not only sci-fi, but I believe to be just kind of all action epic movies in general. Movies that leave you satisfied and have the executives asking for a sequel, and eventually just a full-on redo with some of the cast of the original movies. Bringing me to number 6, The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is basically A New Hope, except it has all of the modern day amenities, like really good pacing, like a color palette that really pops, and really, really good looking visual effects. I mean, look at this fucking bread. Joke's on you, that's a practical effect. They could have done that in the 70s. I really liked this movie when it came out, and it set up some really promising premises, so it is just so disappointing what happened afterwards. It truly is a shame that we didn't get to see JJ's vision play out. Number 5. Attack of the Clones. I don't know if you've noticed, but this is the first prequel that I've dropped so far. That is because I believe the prequels are prime Star Wars, and this is my list, so I get to say whatever I want. And let's be honest, none of the Star Wars movies are like amazing movies. We watch Star Wars because of Natalie Portman. I mean, the beautiful universe that George Lucas crafted over decades. Yeah, Attack of the Clones has arguably some of the worst dialogue in any of the movies. There's just times where it feels really awkward, but damn, all of the little Star Wars-isms in the prequels are just magnetic. They're such interesting, good ideas. We're introduced to Camino in this movie, fucking Rain Planet, with these with these guys. We get Geonosis, the droid factory, which is so interesting. If you really think about it, it kind of looks like the Geonosians made the droids in their image almost. Plus, we get to see more Coruscant. Coruscant is the coolest planet. It's the coolest fucking planet. The whole intro of Attack of the Clones is so fun. And it's got Across the Stars? Across the Stars? Do you even know what that means? And we get to see how Yoda fights just flapping around like a babkin. I know there's people that immediately discount my credibility as a Star Wars fan for saying nice things about Attack of the Clones. But to that, I say, eat rocks. I don't give a fuck. I like this movie. Number 4. Ooh, this one's tough. I can't believe I'm saying this. Okay, just know before I say this, it's not that I like this movie less than the other ones. It's that I like the other 3 so much for very specific reasons. I'm just gonna say it. Number 4, Empire Strikes Back. This movie's fucking awesome. I also love Cloud City, or Bespin, rather. It is one of my favorite locations ever shown in Star Wars. As far as I and most of humanity is concerned, Empire Strikes Back is the quintessential sequel. Again, sorry it's number 4. I know it's most people's number 1. Also, these opinions could change on a dime. Maybe I've just seen Empire too many times. But I could probably do this list in 2 years and it would be a completely different list. So don't judge me. Empire might be number 1 come this here July. This here July. Anyone? No? Okay, number 3. The Phantom Menace. What? I know, okay, when I when I say it back to back like that, it sounds really strange. I just like the prequels so much. The overall tone of them is a little bit more serious than the original trilogy. The ideas and visual designs and everything presented in them are so compelling and unique. They are so themselves, and I love them for it. And Phantom Menace has some badass things going on. First of all, Liam Neeson. I don't know who let Liam Neeson onto the Star Wars set, but god damn. It's a good thing they killed him off in the first movie because he would have stolen the show. And this movie spawned one of the most beloved villains across the whole franchise. I also can't tell you how much I love the whole pod race scene. The sound design is fucking absurd. The sound design is beautiful in the pod race scene. And again, bringing it back to Darth Maul, the choreography in the Darth Maul fight is just immaculate. And obviously Duel of the Fates is one of the most popular tracks from any of the movies. And you know what? I think enough time has passed. Can we all agree that Jar Jar Binks isn't that bad? Compared to the rest of the comic relief that they did in the sequel trilogy, Jar Jar was actually goofy enough to kind of stand the test of time.
He's going underwater, okay?
And the guy who played him got like fucking death threats for years. That's ridiculous. Stop. Anyways, number 2. Are you ready? Based on what I've already said, I feel like you're ready. I feel like you already know what I'm gonna say. Because number 2 will tell you what number 1 is by process of elimination. It's Return of the Jedi. This used to be my favorite, and whenever it came down to Jedi versus Empire, I always said Jedi. I'm kind of a sucker for a finale. I respect and love and adore and appreciate somewhat of a cliffhanger with high stakes and some loss. But when it comes down to Infinity War versus Endgame, I'm gonna go Endgame just because I like a resolution. If done well in both movies, the resolution is just gonna hit harder for me. Also, Luke with a green lightsaber is fucking sexy. And I think I like the locations of this movie a tiny bit more, just overall. Because like I said, I love Cloud City, but I don't love Hoth. And overall, I like the intro of this movie a lot better than Empire. The whole long sequence of Jabba's palace to the flying boats over the sand sea with the oh shit, what's it called? Sarlacc pit. The Sarlacc pit and Boba Fett dying. So you thought in 1983, but this whole movie is just so triumphant. It's got such an emotional ending. The bad guy of the whole trilogy is beautifully humanized, and it ends with this nice feeling that the galaxy is saved and nothing else bad will ever happen again. Fantastic movie, and fantastic end to a trilogy, but slightly less fantastic than the end to the next trilogy. Which brings us to number 1.
Revenge of the Sith.
What?
Revenge of the Sith.
If I meet you on the street and you have a Star Wars tattoo and we start chatting it up about Lucasfilm and I ask what your favorite Star Wars movie is, if you don't say Revenge of the Sith, then I don't know what else we can agree upon. You obviously don't like shit absolutely hitting the fan and people dying and the gravitational weight of an entire galaxy shoved into a movie with heartache and sorrow, even though you know what's coming, but it's still played out so beautifully. If you were to watch one Star Wars movie, and only one, it would have to be this one. It would have to be. It would literally have to be. It is wall to wall with shit going on. It has the best beginning of any of the movies. It has the best middle, and it has the best end. It's just the best movie. I can't even imagine how hard Hayden and Ewan had to train for this movie. Every lightsaber fight is so well choreographed and goes way harder than it needs to. It is embarrassing looking at the sequel trilogy. The way they fucking swing them like they're great swords. Personally, I wish the movie were an hour longer, just so you could get like a 30-minute fight scene every single time. It's John Wick meets George Lucas. All right, I think I've said what I needed to say. Let me know what your list is if you have one down in the comments below. I don't actually think that Revenge of the Sith is the correct answer. I'll be perfectly fine if you say anything besides The Last Jedi, really. All right, take it easy. Don't forget to subscribe as well.